Unacademy. Let's crack it.
Hello, hi, and namaste. I'm Unnati, and today we are going to talk about 10 steps that you can take to land your dream job via LinkedIn. So, now, given the times that we are in, and everything has gone online, and everybody is so acceptable online, it's easier to land a job than ever, right? So, you can leverage platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn, and land the company that you really wanted to work with. It can be Cred, Unacademy, or any of those amazing brands that you see out there and you want to work for them. So you can just reach out to the founders, CMOs, or the HRs and apply for the job. But for that, you should have a profile that convinces the other person to look into your candidature. So I'm going to discuss 10 steps that will help you do exactly that. But wait, there's a surprise. At the end, I have added a bonus point which makes it 11 steps for you, and I hope all of this helps you. But another thing is that we have divided this video into two parts so that it's easier for you to understand whatever I say here, because I know it's all very new for you. So make sure you watch both the parts. And now let's get started. I start with the first thing. Now, when I was reached out by the Unacademy team to shoot and everything, they had specifically told me to sit against a white background so that everything is clearly visible. I am clearly visible, and all the animations that you'll be seeing or you've seen can be put somewhere, right? So it's very important. You don't need a fancy shoot setup. I don't have a fancy shoot setup, but then it should be in a way that it's visually appealing, right? Or it's aesthetical enough, or it's just amazing enough so that people can watch it, right? And that goes with your display picture. Now, whatever display picture you're using on say supposedly Facebook or Instagram are not valid for LinkedIn, because they are very different platforms. So if you have put a selfie, or if you've put a photo in a garden, that's not that, it won't work, right? So make sure your profile picture is super classy and super professional. You can sit against a white background, switch on your front camera, and then put it on timer, and then click a few pictures. If you want to add a plain background at the end, you can use tools like Canva to put a plain background and then post it on LinkedIn, or use it for LinkedIn, right? So the first thing, like anybody who comes to your profile, the first thing that they notice is your profile picture. So might as well make it professional. Now, the second step is your cover banner. Your cover banner is actually your business card, right? So it's the first piece of information they read about you. And given that it's graphical, it's more easier for you to showcase whatever you want to showcase. So how to make this cover banner? Very easy. There are templates on Canva. You can just go to Canva and then you can search for LinkedIn cover banner, and there are a lot of templates that will load. You can select the one that you feel is right and then edit it with pictures or with text. Now, what text should you add to your cover banner? It should be anything and everything that you want to tell your audience or somebody who's visiting your profile. It is 5 to 10 words put in a graphical format that should convince the other person to hit the connect button or the message button on your profile, right? As simple as that. So it can be, I specialize in A, B, C, D, E, connect with me on this email ID. So this can be a simple format. Or I talk about A, B, C, D, E on this profile. Follow me or connect with me to stay updated. So if you talk about marketing, you can highlight that. If you talk about latest technologies, you have to highlight that. So basically the idea is your cover banner should make you look like an interesting person. And see, at the end of the day, all of us are interesting because we have different interest areas. You just have to highlight that interest area in a nice format, in a graphical format, and that's what cover banner is for. So cover banner is just a replacement of having a business card. Think of it in that manner. Now we move on to the third thing, and that's your headline. Now, headline is an amalgamation of 5 to 10 words, a mixture of 5 to 10 words that convinces me to connect with you. So the first part is your cover banner. The second part is your headline that convinces the other person or tells the other person what they can approach you for. So a lot of times, a lot of founders have come to me and said, we really love your headline. And my headline is mixing honey with chili to grow brands organically. Now, what does this mean? I give best of both the worlds to a brand so that they can grow organically on social media or online platforms. So that's how a lot of people get in touch with me, because they love my headline. So if you're a content writer, your headline has to do justice the content that you write, or you can be anybody, but make sure your headline is really nice. It can be quirky, amazing, emotional, data driven, something which is different, that makes you different from the crowd, right? So if you're purchasing, if you go and buy a packet of chips, why do you buy it? You buy it for color, taste, flavors. So if anybody is offering you a job, they will look for 2-3 things that they are convinced to connect with you rather than anybody else, and then take it forward. So you have to make sure that your headline is very eye catchy. So it can be something like, I help brands with XYZ, and then highlight 2 or 3 of your skill sets, like I have done over here. It says personal branding, email marketing, lead generation, right? So you can use 3 words that define your candidature or your profile, and 1 line that explains why you are better than the rest, or what do you do differently. Just highlight that 2 through 3 of your skill set and you're sorted. So that's about your headline. So till now we have discussed 3 things, that is your profile picture, your cover banner, and your headline. Now let's move on to the 4th thing, which is a non-negotiable, and a lot of people either don't use it or are using it wrong, in a wrong format, and that is your featured section. Now your featured section is anything and everything that you want the other person to read about you, to know about you. It can be your achievement, it can be your it can be a testimonial from somebody you worked with, it can be anything that tells them to trust you. Now there are other columns in your LinkedIn profile where you can add your achievement or anything, but the idea is your featured section comes in the first or the second scroll, right? So if somebody is on your profile and they're scrolling through it, in the first or the second scroll, depending on the device and the size of their device, it will come and they can read about you, right? So it can be your website, it can be your calendar's link, it can be your resume, it can be something that you have achieved. Featured section is to highlight the USPs of your candidature. So make sure you don't leave it like that only. You always fill it, and you fill it with things that again convinces the other person to understand your candidature. So if you're a video editor, say supposedly, you can put your best of your work on the featured section. If you are a writer and you've been published in Economics Times or some other amazing publication, you can put the link to it in your featured section. So again, highlight your USPs in order to convince somebody to give you the job that you want. So that's the 4th thing, non-negotiable. Use your featured section cautiously. It's very important. And now we come to the 5th thing, which is, and oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you a story. I did land my last job when I was doing a job via my headline. So somebody was searching for me and they found me, and then they read my headline, which was not your average growth hacker, and that was 2 years back, and they did get in touch with me and I was hired for that profile. But the first connecting point was my headline. So all these things that we are telling you, they might seem very small, but they have an impact and they get you your dream job. So make sure you don't skip on these small things. And now I'll come to the 5th point, and that is your about section. Now your about section has to be very different. It should have emoticons to highlight specific things. It should have bullets. It should flow like music, like it should have paragraphs, then sentences, then high notes, low notes, something like that. That's how music is. Your about section has to be very similar to that, right? It should have the good things about you in a paragraph, and then your achievements in bullet points. Make sure your about it's very short. It should not be a 1,000-word essay, but it should be very crisp, to the point, and formatted in such a manner that the points that you really want to highlight are highlighted. So I'll give you an example, and it's something while I was trying to answer this question, why should you hire me, or about myself, the normal tell me about yourself types of questions, I figured out this format, which has worked, by the way, for most of my clients, which is always talk about your present, then about your future, and then about your past. So my present is I've worked with 100+ brands to help them scale online. My future is I want to work with 1,000 more brands in the SaaS or technology or health industry and help them break free from the shackles of non-performing marketing strategies. And my past is that without a marketing degree, I was able to crack most of the marketing campaigns because I understood the crux of marketing, which is human behavior, right? So all these things. So this will give people an understanding of where I am today, where I want to go, which shows my ambitions, and where I've come from. It shows my degree, my potential, my background, right? So you should cover all these 3 points in your about section, starting from your present, then your future, and then your past. You can add numbers such as I've done 200 plus projects or something like this, so that it's easier for them to understand your potential, right? So don't just write paragraphs. Make sure that there are some bullets, there are some emoticons, there's something formal in there, and then there's something about your past also. A lot of times I've seen people skipping on their past. No, if something is your about section again comes in the second scroll, or if somebody is on their device, they'll scroll twice, they will be able to find your about section. So make sure that it's complete in itself, so that if somebody wants, so in the second scroll, people make that decision if they want to connect with you, reply back to you or something like that. So make sure it's convincing enough. The first 2 scrolls are amazing enough that people get in touch with you or reply to your message, right? So your about section should be super classy, super amazing, consisting, amazingly formatted, very important. And then at the end should have your email ID or a touch point, so that if somebody is scrolling through your profile and they like it, they can just copy your email ID and email you. So make it easy for them, right? So here are 5 things. We'll revise it once more. First is your profile picture, should be very professional. Your cover photo should be like your visiting card and should have the required information. The third is your headline, convincing enough for me to connect with you. Me is like anybody who is your target audience. The fourth is your featured section. Whatever you've achieved so far should be in your featured section. It's like the highlight of your profile. And the fifth is about section, which is divided into 3 parts: present, future, and past. That's it from my end. I hope you'll implement all these steps and then hop on to the second part of this video, which will have an additional bonus tip. So make sure you watch that video as well. And if you found it helpful, please subscribe to this channel, drop a comment and like this video, and I'll see you in the next part. Thank you.